The president has like an executive assistant that's always at his side that carries something called a football. It's a nuclear briefcase. And inside that briefcase, it's handcuffed to this person's arm, are their day's current nuclear codes. So the nuclear codes themselves change, and it's classified. I don't even know how often they change: hourly, daily, 2 weeks, every whatever.
Wow.
But there's an actual plastic case, like a, it's hard to even explain.
Almost
like a cell phone.
Like a cell phone, okay.
Imagine a cell phone that you could crack in half, and inside is a piece of paper, and there's a code on that paper. So that's what lives inside the case. So the case has to be opened by the combination, and only the person holding the suitcase has the combination. Then the president himself has to pick up the thing in the middle, crack it open, and pull it out, because only the president's authorized to do that. When he sees the code, then he types the code to authenticate that what he's seeing is actually the code for the day into the football, which sends a wireless transmission out to every nuclear base in the country simultaneously. That comes across as an emergency action message, an EAM, and that EAM tells everybody who's on alert, hey, it's time to authenticate this code. Now, when the president cracks the code, it's the real launch code. But the EAMs, like I was telling you, they go off every few hours. That's how they drill us to always be ready. It's also how they prevent against any conscientious objectors. We don't know if the EAM is a real EAM or not. We just know that it goes off, we press the buttons. If it tells us to do the thing, we do the thing. If we don't do the thing, we don't do the thing. We never really know if it's real or not.
Oh, so when you're down there, it could be a real strike.
Mm-hmm. But they make it so that you can't sit there and objectively be like, I'm not doing it.
You don't have time to think about it.
Right. Wow. And so that's the first redundancy. The first redundancy is they make it so that you don't really know if it's real or not real. You just know whether or not that whether you take the action or don't take the action based on the authenticated code. Once the authenticated code tells you what to do, you take the action of the authenticated code. So in that case, it would be, type in a certain sequence that would activate your missiles, and the missiles would know that that's the accurate thing to do, even if you didn't know. And then, the instructions in the checklist will say, put in your keys, twist your keys, right? Turn your keys. And then the two people are separated about as far as you and I, really about as far as me and Rob. We would both insert our keys. We would look at each other. Rob, whoever was in command, would say, on my mark, 3, 2, 1, mark. We turn our keys. The LCC is 50 plus miles away from the missiles. So you would never know. You turn a key, 50 miles away, a rocket takes off. And really the way that it works, once one pair of two in any part of the base successfully execute, every missile on the base goes off.
And how many are usually on the base?
So each base normally has 10 groups of 10 missiles. So there's 100 missiles pointed at different targets. So when an authenticated message comes in, whoever the target is of that authenticated message, those are the missiles activated to go off. So maybe 6 of them go off. But it only takes 2. Even though there's 20 people sitting underground right now in each base, it only takes 2 people to do it at the same time to launch all of them. That's the second redundancy. First redundancy, you don't actually know when you launch or don't launch. Second redundancy, it only takes 2. It doesn't even take you, right? You and I could sit there and be like, fuck no, we're not launching missiles. Missiles are still going to go.
Right.
Because somebody somewhere else said, turn, right?
Fuck it, turn it, yeah.
And then if all things fail, like if what ends up happening is like there was a first strike and Russia blew up all the LCCs, then all of us are dead, but the missiles are still live. Now, the third redundancy is they have an airplane that can launch any missile anywhere in the United States from a signal from the airplane. So then 2 people are in the airplane and they authenticate and they turn, and then that sends a low frequency message to all the missiles out there and the missiles take off. So we have multiple redundancies to make sure the missiles launch.
Can we reach China right now?
We can reach anywhere in the world right now.
And they can too.
And
right?
they can too. Okay. It's just a matter of speed and the type of technology. So what I mean by the type of technology is there's different categories of nuclear warhead that have different levels of accuracy, different sizes of nuclear load. Some missiles carry 3 warheads. Some missiles carry 5. Some missiles, I think, carry 8 warheads. 8. And they can all be independently targeted. So one missile can go up in the sky, and then it's almost like you've seen the cartridge on like a 6-shooter, right? That little cartridge pops out of the missile up in altitude. and then boo, 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 boo.
It's almost like a hollow point, right?
Yeah.
It just sprays wherever you tell it to go.
Wherever you tell it to go.
But
and
it's
then,
targeted.
And then those things come in. And what people don't realize is when a warhead comes in, there's no propellant. There's no rocket on the warhead. The warhead's just a piece of metal with a nuclear bomb in it. It's actually gravity that pulls it through the atmosphere right onto its target.
Wow.
And that happens so fast. If you pull up a picture of nuclear warhead testing or warheads entering the atmosphere, it looks like rays of light because they move so fast.
Yeah, Google that.
It looks like these streams of light coming in.
Now, let's just say let me ask you this. Let's just say China, they shot one. Do you think we would be able to shoot it down, or that's going to hit wherever it's going to hit?
I think there's a high probability that we would be able to intercept the rocket as it was ascending to the atmosphere. If you like this short clip, make sure you click here to see the next clip or here to see the full podcast episode.
So fresh, so new.